Welcome, folks. Welcome to Something More Than Gibberish. I believe this is our 38th episode. Today we've got a young man from my city of Melbourne in Australia by the name of Nick Jenkins. I believe he started his writing journey about 12 months ago. And I was privileged to hear him at an open mic here. Our paths crossed, and I was taken up by his poetry, just the couple of pieces I heard. And then since then, I've been privileged to hear a lot of his work on Instagram and even much more so TikTok. Really looking forward to getting to know more about Nick today. His poetry reminds me so much of it covers a lot of like the Australiana feel, what life is like for us. We've got a very free, hard but gentle sort of life in the same token, caring but hard. Our wide open spaces, our free lifestyle, and I get that feeling from his poetry. And then he also writes on very real human sort of experiences. So I am really, really looking forward to this show. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my cheeky co-host Gemini, and Nick's also in the room, so I'll bring them both up. Okay, Gemini, Nick, I'm trying to bring you up. And there's, hey, how are you, Nick?
Hey,
Hello, Gemini. Yeah, very good. Thanks, mate. Very good.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello.
Gemini. So, Nick, this is my co-host, Gemini. She's from Tampa, Florida. Don't hold that against her.
Oh, no.
How are you, Gemini?
Please don't hold it against me. It's not my fault the government is the way that it is and the weather.
No, not at all.
And how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. I'm up and alive, so no complaints.
Up and alive is a good thing.
Did you have a big night last night, or?
No. I was just out with my partner and her housemates for a bit, but my body clock's adjusted to getting up early at the moment because I'm working day shift. So I was up an hour at 6. I tried to get another hour though. Yeah.
But first up, thank you for agreeing to come on the show. Ever since I heard you recite at Radio Bar, I really fell in love with your work, and I've been looking forward to having you on and hearing more of your pieces, man. I really love some of those pieces that you've written on the Australian scenery, like the old man looking at the sunsets. I love the stuff you've written for your sister, and you cover such a gamut. And it astounds me for somebody who, as you said in your bio, started your writing journey a bit over a year ago or a year ago. The depth of your pieces, but also you do well in memorizing your pieces as well. That's pretty amazing. Some of the stuff on open mics that blows me away because I've been writing for many years and I struggle to memorize a 3-line haiku. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
hats off to you.
No, thank you. It's part of the fun for me, memorizing it. Like, I don't know if it's the rhymes that help me memorize it, or it's just I'll listen to it by myself in the car for an hour. So, or, yeah, I just while I'm driving to work, or if I'm just driving somewhere, I'll just practice it in the car for an hour until I like how it sounds.
That's great. So before we get into some poetry and stuff like that, now you're a young bloke in Melbourne, and I know what it was. You know, we got a very free fun-loving sort of lifestyle here. When I was sort of like your age, mate, like I was, we got so much with the sport, with sports, with arts and entertainment, the free life, the bush, the outback. What made somebody like you start writing suddenly about poetry? Like when I was your age, mate, the last thing in my mind was writing poetry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. It's funny you asked that. It really just started off as a joke. Like I was lifeguarding at the time, and I would just walk around. One person gets to call a rotation on the radio, so for the hour while I would wait to call rotation, I'd try and think of like a little poem about rotating, and then when I got to speak on the radio, I would say it. Or if I was about to verse my friend in footy, I'd send him a poem, about why he'd be incapable of versing me tomorrow. And it just really, yeah, it just started off as just something I would do for fun, just like try and think of ways to poke fun of my mates and all that. But then I just thought to myself, like, oh, I had this one interaction on a train one night, and then afterwards I just thought, like, I got to try and write a serious poem. I was um I was coming home from the footy, and there was this guy on the train, and he was in the carriage with me, and like something was just like a bit wrong, like you could read it on his face that something was wrong, and he just involved himself in our conversation, which there's nothing wrong with that. We were just having an open conversation, but he was kind of heavily suggesting that his mother had just passed away, and I I felt I don't know. I felt like in that moment that I didn't say enough, but then didn't communicate that enough as a stranger to us. Not that he has any obligation to because we don't know each other. But I just had this thing playing in my head like over and over again for hours, and it was like this sentence, and it was like, he's guilty of being a man, the man in front of me. But who's to call him guilty when you're a man as guilty as me? And then
Jeez.
I just had that stuck in my head for like a week, and then I was like, I gotta write something. No more jokes. No more jokes. Yeah,
And that's what happens to me. It's like it's
yeah,
over and over again. And if I let it pass, then it doesn't come back again.
yeah,
Something
yeah,
new
yeah,
comes in. So like I have to get it out. It's almost like chewing on cud. It just over and over and over, and it's nagging until it gets out. It's like it's trying to get free.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm the same. I also just if I have like a song, I associate all my song poems with a song. So if I have like a song, I'll just listen to it for days and days and days while I
Yes.
try and figure out what belongs to it.
For me, it's a song that nags me over and over again. The song comes in just like the words would. And the
Yeah,
song, it just over and over again, over and over again. So I have to listen to the song. And once I listen to the song, the poem just, it writes itself.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I noticed that a lot of my the poems I've written, they're kind of written to a similar tempo to the song that's associated with it.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. I have to, I can't wait to hear your work.
Thank you.
Oh, Gemini,
Yeah.
you are going to be mind blown. He's got a very Australiana feel, right? Man, I tell you what, after hearing some of your work just even on TikTok, man, I hope you keep going because I think you'll go places, man. Because you cover, there's a bit of a uniqueness to some of the Australian poetry, like our Banjo Pattersons and all that, right? That speaks of something. This country is very unique in our lifestyle, in our mindset, in and even in our environment. Like it's very unique. We've got an amazing lifestyle, and I think some of your pieces like take me back to when I was doing horseback trail rides in Ross River down the centre, or standing on top of Simpson's Gap watching the sunset, mate. I was that old man that you'd written about there, right? I was that bloke. I was in the Bagong High Plains, not a human being in sight, just on my own. That was me, and I can relate to it. And that's quite unique to us, man. You know, that is
Yeah,
quite
that's
unique for us
awesome. I love that.
with
Yeah.
our wide open spaces. So, mate, before we get in some poetry, so you're still a lifeguard as well?
No, 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 no. I work in the construction industry now.
Yeah.
Um, so I stopped that 2 years ago, I think.
And,
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
and still playing footy, or?
Yeah, still playing. Well, yeah. Footy was only a recent thing. I just really wanted to play footy again. So last year was my first season in over 10 years, and then I played
But
this season
Yeah.
again.
for the only Australian on this, non-Australian on the screen, what is footy?
Oh,
Football.
footy,
Football.
AFL. Oh, it's pretty different to American football. There's a million rules. I've realised how hard it is to explain to someone that hasn't grown up with it, because there actually are an outrageous amount of rules. But it's there's 18 players aside. Um,
Full contact.
yeah, full contact.
Jeez.
Yeah, pretty rough. Yeah, it's
No
fun.
padding, helmets, nothing like that, like your gridiron has. It's just
Yeah,
skin and bone.
That sounds like rugby.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Is it
yeah.
closer
It's
to
a
rugby
lot
than American
different.
football?
Yeah.
Oh,
You'll have to do a YouTube and just watch a game. Matter of fact, next Friday is our grand final. It's the final. And we actually get a public holiday in our state for it.
nice. Yeah, you
So
send me a good team, Nick. Send me a good team so I can. Now, will I need to go ahead and have something to go like this? Because you talking about full contact with no padding.
It depends. It depends. I mean, in the final series so far, it's been pretty rough, like a few punch-ons and that. But that's part of it. That's part of it.
Two punches?
A few
punch-ons,
punch-ons. Yeah, like
fights break
fights.
out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tempers flare.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to figure out what footy is. Like y'all had me all in with the open spaces and all this wonderful stuff in nature and freedom and fun loving, and then you talk about the aggression in footy and all of your venomous animals, and I'm like, I want to come, but I don't want to come. Like, keep it what just give me some nice stuff until I make it there, and then break the bad news to me.
It's not for the faint-hearted, all right? It's not for the faint-hearted.
I'm not faint-hearted. I'm a kung fu not master,
And
not junior. I okay. I trained in kung fu for 3.5 years. I think I can handle it.
good luck against the crocodile. Um, mate,
That's mean.
so that's really awesome. I'm glad you're back. You know, sometimes I think in living life to its fullest, that then comes out in the poetry as well. So I think it's great that you've got that.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I think that's really well said. I think that was something I really tried to do last year, which was just enjoy the little things, or like make sure I appreciate all aspects of life. It doesn't have to be the best day every day, but the fact I got to wake up is the best part of the day, right? Like I get to live another day. So
yeah,
last year and this year, I've really just tried to make sure that I can take something good with me out of any day, whether it's the worst day I've had or it's the best day I've had.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's beautiful.
that's a good balanced outlook, mate. And you're right. Every day that the sun rises is a blessing, isn't it? You know, you go to bed at night, you don't know if that sun's going to rise, right? You don't know who's going to be in your life the next day. You know,
That's
so
it.
yeah. Mate, I'm happy to get into some of your poetry if you like.
Yeah, of course. So, This first one I have for you guys, it's called The Carriage of a Thousand Riders. And I wrote this on the way back from Japan. My sister, she sent me like a page in her journal just discussing her possessions and like something about like wanting to take all her belongings with her when she dies.
Mm.
And it's completely different to that. I don't know where this came from, but this was inspired by the passage she sent me. And yeah, it's called The Carriage of a Thousand Riders, and it's about while we don't persist beyond death like our habits do, and they get passed to everyone.
Mm.
So yeah, I think we as humans cannot accept growing old simply because for a lot of us, we aren't. For us, being old doesn't exist yet. And if we have the luxury to experience this, would we even accept it then? So, caught up on the inevitable, we struggle to experience the now, too scared to be forgettable or remembered as a coward, distracted from the most important thing, that we don't just vanish when we pass, rather, our being is used as a carriage that travels through the marsh. An important part of us is trailed behind many and taught 1,000 times over, filling the gaps that were empty. The man I am does not exist because I chose this, but rather from the privilege to carry many important people with me. For some parts of me, I have no face nor name for, but it doesn't matter, because now they bear a new face and new name, and will teach others as I was taught. If a man is to be like me, all they must seek is a small portion of me, my soul, and now I live forever, though I may not see with my eyes nor speak with my mouth. These words are all you need to take you right back to me. I will pull the carriage for some time, dragging it to the point of change until it's time to join the cargo and hand over the reins. Yeah.
I felt like I was holding my breath throughout that poem.
Mm, mm. Mate, there's some
Mm.
profound lessons in that, right? There's some profound sentiments there, like what does life mean, Is
Yeah.
it just a one-off experience? What is it? What is that inner voice?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what I just kind of wrote about. I just thought, well, you know, perhaps some people are scared of, their name being lost to time, but everyone's name gets lost to time. But one thing that doesn't is the things you pick up from other people. And I thought about it because I thought, well, I've got habits from even when I was in primary school. And these habits, I picked up from people that I wouldn't even consider my friends, like they were just people that I crossed paths with once, but now it
Mhm.
sticks with me forever, you know?
Mm.
So, yeah.
And
It's a
it's almost,
very,
go ahead.
sorry, Gemini.
No, go ahead.
It's a very healthy outlook on life, mate, because to me, I've always maintained the attitude I can learn things from anybody, from the managing director right down to the cleaner to the janitor.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something to offer, and I can learn from a kid, I can learn from an old man, I can learn from anybody. I can learn from the guy who picks up the rubbish out there to the one who runs the country. Matter of fact, I
100%.
probably learn
Yeah.
more. I learn more from the guy who picks up my rubbish than the person who runs the country. Actually,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah. That's it.
Usually.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
so for me, it sounds like your sister, your interpretation without knowing it, from her passage was her, if she's taking her belongings, it's almost like she feels like she's taking all of herself with her when she dies.
I think so. Yeah. Very well said.
And then your interpretation is that it's not possible to take all of yourself. You've given out portions of yourself, but you've taken portions of other people throughout the years. And when you die, that's what you're taking with you. The self that you gave out you're not getting back.
Yeah,
What you have is what was deposited in you, whether knowingly or unknowingly. That
yeah,
is beautiful.
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
No, for sure. Very well said. Yeah, I think that's why what I try and solidify in the last line where it says, until it's time to join the cargo and hand over the reins, because it's like your job's not done because someone's gonna carry you now. So you can't look at it in that way because people are going to be teaching your habits till the end of time.
Yeah, that's why you have to be careful of what you deposit into someone.
Yeah,
Um, I
sure.
see meeting people like how you call it? What atoms? So atoms where you have the neuron and then you have the electrons. So when
Yeah,
the neurons get close to each other, then you have the if I'm saying this right, you have the electrons. With water, sometimes they share an electron.
Yes.
Sometimes you have a free radical where it goes into nowhere. But with humans, that doesn't happen. When you meet someone, you share, they share. Sometimes you take more of them than they take of you, but there's always giving and taking involved.
Yes.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think with that, I had tried and do this thing where I think to myself, if someone was to talk about me to a complete stranger, what are they going to say to them? Like, how are they to describe me to someone that I've never met or they've never met? And then if I
Hmm.
was to meet them, what are they going to say? Like, oh, Nick, I've heard about him. He's a great guy. All this, that's what I want. So every time I meet people, I try and treat them as if I've known them a lifetime already because
Hmm.
I want, I want people to talk about me in a nice light.
But I
Uh,
don't think you got any fear of that. I've only met you in person the once, and
Yeah,
I'm not an easy bloke. I've lived around, mate. I rode around this country for 10 years. I've met some great people. I met some assholes, right? And I met people from all walks of life.
yeah,
And I'm a good judge of character. It's kept me alive, right? In the middle of nowhere, it's kept me alive. And the minute I heard your work and we chatted outside in a smoko break, man, straight away I knew you're an amazing human being. Keep believing that. You don't have to worry about it at all. You're just a great bloke. And then we've had a couple of chats on the phone, and yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you're
Goes
right
both
about
ways.
what we leave behind. Like I had a very close bond in for the few years that I had my old man, and I know uh, I can see the similarities, and I can see where, like, he was driven by justice, and he how he dealt with it was quite brutal. He took no prisoners. I'm driven by justice, but I'm a lot less forgiving and probably more tolerant before the ugly side comes out. My son now, he's 27. He's driven by justice, and he's a lot more gentler on how he deals with it than me. But that same essence, that sense of justice that drives us is, I can see it from the generations. I can see habits that my old man had that I've got, and I can see those some of those habits and those views in my son.
hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
And I was never controlling. I never, as he was growing up as a young bloke, I never said you shall do this, this. I just taught them what right and wrong was, and then I said, your choice how you deal with it. I've taught you the risks of going and playing in the middle of the road. If you elect to go and play in the middle of the road, I'm not going to stop you. But if you get hit by a truck, I'll come and just scrape you off the road. I'm not going to go and kill that truck driver. I taught you what right and wrong was. But if I can't be around you for the rest of your life, I'll be dead and gone. If I The best gift I can give you is the fortitude and the common sense and the foundations to make the right decisions. So I never tried to make decisions for my young fellow or my two stepsons. So in that I can still see so much of me in the decisions he makes in sorting out the wheat chaff from the chaff and making the right um, decisions, man. So yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Nick, I can't, I would like to meet you a few years from now when the statement that you made about meeting someone and for that person, when they leave your presence, if they were to meet someone else, what they would say about you. My wish for you is that that never comes to mind again. My wish for you is that you become so comfortable with yourself and knowing who you are that it doesn't matter what someone says about you because there are other people in the room that will correct them or set them straight. And you don't even have to think about it. It will become innate. That's who I am because you will know yourself and be comfortable with yourself. And it's hard staring yourself in the mirror. And the trying will be less. What you have to try is not like be outside of your character, but the people will be drawn to you because of who you already are, not who you're trying to be. And your trying will just be with yourself. And the byproduct of it will be people drawn to you because you are okay with yourself. So that's what I've been working for the last couple of years. And that's what I wish for you. And I don't know your belief. I pray that you find it early so that for the rest of your life, you just become more and more refined in knowing yourself, and other people get drawn to you because you know yourself.
Thank you. That's very kind.
You're welcome.
I'll have to take that on board. I think I
If you,
have this idea that I have a very good understanding of myself right now, but I think, we're ever changing, right? And while I understand myself right now in this moment, like I'm on top of the world, in 3 years I could be back down to being on the bottom. It's impossible to know. But right now I understand my world completely, and I try and just, I don't know what the word is for it. I don't want to say take advantage of it, but I think it is in some way. Like
hmm
I understand everything there currently that makes my world turn, but in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, that won't be the case because, I'll have kids and I'll have other things that make my world turn,
yes,
so,
I'm
but,
47, so I can tell you you will.
yeah,
Just but this feeling that you have right now, however you can encapsulate that feeling. So think of it as people think of retirement and storing up for a rainy day. Everything you're feeling right now, all of the growth, all of the confidence, the self-reassurance, all of those things, you need to go and encapsulate it and just tuck it away for those moments where you'll be a new person. You will not like the person that you are becoming. You'll feel like you're changing and you don't like the change, or it's the change that's needed, but you hate it. Bring that sweet memory, that feeling back again. Say, okay, I know how to do this, and this is what it's going to be. I'm going to take this feeling and I'm going to encapsulate it for the time that's needed for a lesson, and we're just going to go ahead and be Nick, and be present with yourself and whatever life throws at you. So I am so happy that you have this moment to hold on to, especially like you say, you had a year to work on things. You're writing your poetry. Your empathic sense is growing because you talked about being on the train and feeling what this guy was feeling without knowing exactly what it was, and it nagging you. That that is a gift. So I pray that you never forget that, and it just keeps. It'll be annoying, it'll keep growing. It will be painful because the more you connect to people, the more you feel.
But all I will say is take a moment in reflection to learn from yesterday. Plan a little bit for tomorrow, but don't get too bogged down on that because the sun might not rise tomorrow. But live in the here and now. Fully immerse yourself in each experience that each day offers. Like right now, I'm fully immersed in this. I don't give a rat's ass about tomorrow. I don't know if tomorrow will rise for me. I'm here in the right here and now.
Y'all make me want to come to Australia. I don't like y'all.
The Should we get into another piece, man?
Yeah, of course. Um, this is a shorter one that I've written, and I wrote it while I was camping, and it's called "The Stars That Don't Whisper." And I just thought, about how whenever we're feeling this overwhelming sense of existence, we have this like desire to, I don't want to say ask the stars, but you ask in an empty space. And I thought, well, when I think people ask the questions in the wrong places,
Mm.
and I think that the answers are actually around you. So yeah, it's called Stars That Don't Whisper. Um, we ask questions to the stars, looking for answers about our place in the dirt, amongst the filth and the grit, covered in mud to hide all that hurts, unaware that the truths we seek can be found here on earth. For the stars know nothing of the trees' leaves that sing in the wind, or a sea breeze that tightens your skin. For indeed I see all that has been, but not what's to come. And neither has the universe, for what's done is done. For soon I will traverse into worlds I've never seen. For these stars that don't whisper about the places that I dream. Yeah, that's it.
The sea breeze that tightens your skin. I felt that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that was the whole point of the poem as well. It was just like, you ask these outrageous answers, but then you remember that the trees sway in the wind, and the sea salt, you can feel it on your lips and skin. Like, you just remind yourself that you're existing, and that's the best thing possible.
Mate, uh, as you were reading that piece, you took me to standing on the cliffs down the Great Ocean Road with
Yeah,
squalling winds coming out in the middle of winter, standing there where I just needed to be alone and my thoughts. You took me to the Bogong High Plains where the wind was howling through at the top of the mountain peaks and like in the middle of summer and it was damn cold. And you took me to uh, lying on the ground in the middle of the desert in the red center. There's not a cloud in the sky, and the stars were so huge and closely felt we could lie and reach it. And there was no city lights; it was as black as the night can be, other than these stars. And where I was lying there, reflecting on my life, it took me to all those places in that, man.
that's awesome.
That's
A-
beautiful.
Absolutely amazing. And you've just
Mm.
taken me back through many years of my life as I lived through those experiences. Uh, as I said, you just there's that really good. You capture the feeling of Australia in your work,
I'm glad. Yeah, it's just something I never considered, but I'm glad that you could say that about it,
mate.
or it takes you to those places.
Yeah, you look at most of the great Aussie poets, mate, and stuff. It's very different to any other great poets around the world. Because it's just. Maybe it's the way we've grown up, maybe it's the environment we are in, but like, there's not another Banjo Patterson, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Mm.
sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Beautiful.
but
So Nick, oh, go ahead when
no,
you're
go on.
ready.
All yours.
So you said that you wrote poems about rotation.
Yeah, yeah.
So have you wrote any poems about construction, or have you been inspired and in the new line of work that you're in right now?
Um, I've had moments where I've been taken back, I guess. Like I was at oh, sorry, one sec. I was actually, funnily enough, I was on Great Ocean Road with my partner, and I was going to take a day off work, and so I messaged him, and I just made sure it was all right, and he was all right with it. So I sent him a little poem as a thank you, just about being a good boss. So, um, yeah, so I've done little bits like that, but I can't say I've been particularly inspired by, but I've been grateful for,
Mm,
because I think I had this thing in my head, and the same goes for footy, that perhaps it would be, this part of me wouldn't be as well received. Not that I would have been ashamed by that or anything, because I don't really care what people think. But for some
right.
reason, I just thought that other people in, you know, like at my footy club or in the construction industry, that have a thing or two to say about poetry, but I was just completely wrong. So
Oh,
I was a bit frustrated that I had that idea in my head, because I've had nothing but nice things, from both parties, you know. Uh, yeah, and it's been great. So but perhaps I need to do that. Perhaps I need to take a step back and write one about working in the construction industry or something. I was
oh,
going to write one for footy again,
that's what I
like
was
an
going to
like
ask
another
you.
funny one. But yeah, I haven't really yet. I've been working on too many. It's whichever one I'm inspired to pursue at the time.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'd like to hear something. I'd like to hear a poem about footy as far as the feeling of being in the game, or
Yeah, yeah,
the feeling of the spectator watching their favorite team, or what the season, whatever it is that will express what it feels like. Because what y'all described to me is like just bare bones, fists and knees and everything coming together, like full contact. When I hear full contact with nothing, I see some like English or Scottish movie, like somebody getting hit with an elbow, running
Oh,
across
that
the
happens all
field.
the time.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. So I'd like to hear what that frenzy is like, that feeling, the heart rate, just you're being chased, and what that feels like. You're being chased, and you know that if they catch you, they're going to, it's full contact.
yeah,
So I would really love to hear what that feels like.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
When you get your butt down here, we'll have to take you to a game, Gemini.
I just make sure I'm high enough to it. I don't want to
Nick,
hear bones cracking.
no, you'll be right. The Nick, I want to really showcase as much of your work on this global platform, mate, because I probably mentioned it to you before. So what I do with this, besides posting it on Instagram, and I'll add you as a collaborator so you can add it to your own page. Besides that, I create like a YouTube post as well, and I also do a podcast of this interview on which I put on Spotify and the main podcast channels, which I'll send you the links to. What I'm trying to get to is you don't know who from what corner of the world will hear, watch this or hear this show. So I really want to really showcase you to on this global platform because I think you're a hidden gem, mate. I really do. As a person, but also in your poetry, man. Your poetry is just second to none. And as a person, mate, as I said, my young bloke's 27. Um, I know your folks will be very proud of who you turned out to be, man. They
Thank
really would.
you, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So, stage is yours. Go for it.
All right. This next one that I have for you guys, it's called the storm's eye winks only at me. and it's
Hmm.
probably the most recent one that I written, and it's about just being present in life, but it's also about not missing opportunities when they pass. So it's written from the point of view of standing in the rain and how, other people perhaps view the rain as something that they have to wait for it to pass, but perhaps that's the opportunity and you just gotta, walk in the rain. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's called The Storm's Eye Winks Only at Me. The rain. One of the world's most magical experiences. I love the rain. I love it when the rain splits the lights through my window. The world just makes more sense when it patters lightly below. But it's funny, isn't it? How we like this idea of rain, yet we hate getting wet, or associate it with pain when we're feeling upset. Don't stand in the rain too long, you may get sick. Rather be warm and dry when the only thing promised is that we're sworn to die. Hellbent on this idea of comfort, but comfort is where our dreams go to die. Watching the rain from the luxury of inside. Routine is healthy, but routine is comfort. So someone tell me what kind of balance I once sought, because the world is spinning too fast in which my existence is threatened, and my life flashes past in what feels like a second. The days feel long, but the years are short. It makes you realize something that you've probably thought. To look back on life as a handful of holidays and birthdays, death being the cost of time in which we could be told to pay in the worst ways. So I think I'll stand here in the rain to feel the gentle drops kiss my face, while everyone else complains their day has become a waste, waiting for the weather to pass. I'll stand here present in my own space, hoping it will forever last, and I'll probably wake up sick. Yeah,
That's a true story. Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. That
It's so true, isn't it? We
oh
all love the rain, but yet like, I love it, even as a kid, in the tropics, mate, when it was howling, pattering on your roof like torrential storms, or even up in North Queensland and things like that. Loved it. But then you associate pain with emotional pain with the rain and the storms, and yeah, yeah, it's so true, so true. Question
it's
is
beautiful.
Christina your sister or your mum?
no, that's my mum. That's my
All
mum.
right,
Oh,
because
hi
she
Mom.
she put in a comment saying we're definitely proud. There you go, mate.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I think
that's pretty cool.
Christina, I think you definitely should be proud. He's a fine young man. In the little that I've known since meeting him, he's certainly captured my respect. So yeah,
That's beautiful.
she better
Um,
be proud. Nah.
with with the rain, a lot of people think of rain and dark clouds as depressing, as mourning. Um, but I had to start thinking differently because as a child, like you danced in the rain, you would walk from school in the rain and you wouldn't hide. You were not afraid of getting wet. Um, and it wasn't dark. Rainy days meant that, okay, now we're going to do something fun. I can't go outside, but the lights are going to go out, the candles are going to come on. And for us, it was sitting around with my mom. She's telling stories because there's no TV, there are no games, nothing. So that's the memory that I had to go back to. The way you explained the rain, it made me smile because like he knows that, and it's all over my Instagram, that I went out and I was dancing in the rain.
That's
Just
awesome.
this, between the last couple of months, I was dancing in the rain because like I've as an adult, I've always wanted to do it, but it seems illogical because you're an adult. And I just said, you know what? I was without a job for almost a year. I went outside. I told my kids what I was going to do. And then my daughter joined me. She's
Oh yeah,
26.
that's great.
It was amazing. She's 26. My son's 21. So my daughter's the one that came and put a towel around me because, mommy, you're going to get sick. I'm like, okay, it was worth it. I'm trembling. I'm like, it was worth
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
My gem
I love that.
lives in Tampa, Florida, and they get pretty very tropical sort of like rain and so forth there. And
Yeah,
she was out there, not just twirling and twirling dresses and dancing in the rain like a big kid. I was just in stitches watching the video. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt great. So like that depiction of the rain that you gave, it captured the feeling I had, finally allowing myself to be free and just spinning in the rain and not caring about the cars passing by or my adult kids being embarrassed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah. I wrote that. Well, I wrote part of it while I was on the way to work, and it was like, bloody torrential downpour, and I was getting frustrated in the traffic, and I just thought, what? I was like, why am I getting frustrated right now? I'm just, it's pouring down. Like, why am I in a hurry to get to work? Like, so I guess I used that as an opportunity to just like slow down. And then I was like, well, I feel like whenever it rains, you wait for it to pass before being productive,
Hmm.
you, and but you shouldn't view it that way because like that's still time wasted, using the rain as an excuse. So yeah, yeah,
Mate, uh,
Exactly.
there's always something positive of everything in life that you can get, right? Every cloud has got a silver lining. You just got to look for it, right?
yeah, for sure.
And at the end of the day, something happens in life, and I can either be taken back by it and let that stump me and get me in a bad place, or just say, okay, that's there. Let's make the best of it and make
Yeah,
something good out of it, right?
yeah, for sure.
So
Um,
question, my love, has there ever been a moment, um, an experience that you couldn't find the words for?
Oh, that's a great question. Uh, yeah. Oh, but I think I've found the words for it since,
Nice.
and I this was early last year. I was just having I was just having a bad day for no reason at all. I was just having a bad day, and I just finished my footy game, and I was driving to my mate's my mate's birthday. He'd rented an A-frame house in Mansfield, which was a fair few. It was a three and a half hour commute from where I was, so it was a three and a
Oh.
half hour drive straight after my footy game. And as I was driving, all of a sudden I just went from having like the worst day to the best day, and I couldn't think of it. Couldn't think about it at all. I was like, why am I? I'm just driving, 3.5 hours. Like, why am I enjoying this so much? Why am I in such a better mood than I was hours and hours ago? And I ended up making that drive take an extra 45 minutes because I was enjoying it so much. Like that was the reason I was already late, but like that was the reason I was more late because I was just enjoying this drive.
Hmm.
And then it hit me. I just thought, well, what is put me in such a good mood right now? And then I was like, well, I'm thinking about nothing. Like I'm just driving. Like that's it. Like I'm not worrying about the problems of tomorrow or, the problems of the past. Like I'm just driving. And I was like, oh, I'm present. Like, and then it went from the worst day to the best day, and then I saw all my friends afterwards. So, but at the time, I just I couldn't understand it at all. And then since I was like, well, I think that was like what I was talking about earlier, like enjoying the little things, like just driving, like finding joy in driving. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I'm glad the words came to you.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I think sometimes, like, maybe not particularly with that example, but that was just what came to mind. But I think a
Mhm.
lot of the times it comes from others giving you the words that you can't have, like, I think that's why it's really important to just talk to people about anything, because you just have this, like, feeling that just has no words for it. You could probably paint it perfectly, this big lump of whatever it is, and but it's got no words for it. But then if you showed that painting to one of your friends, you're like, oh, that's this feeling, or that's happiness, that's sadness, and you're like, oh, I didn't think of it like
Yeah.
that. It was just a big lump on this painting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the beautiful thing about being with other creatives because like it's almost like I said, you borrow some of them and they borrow some of you, and that's what those words are. It's a whatever
yeah,
for whatever reason the words are locked in and you cannot get them out, but they have them. They basically have the key to unlock the words that are already inside of you. So that
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you. That means that that one hurdle where people talk about writer's block, there's there's no such thing as writer's blocks.
I, I agree.
So, and the people like will argue the point, but I'm not saying that you don't have periods of time where the words don't come, but that does not mean that they will never come, or maybe they're not ready to escape. They're fine where they are. You're uncomfortable with the feeling, but they're not ready to get out.
Mm.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I do this thing when I write a lot. Um, I've decided that my understanding of existence isn't enough for a poem, because I've got a certain understanding of existence and it's different to both of you. So when I
Mhm.
write a piece, or I'm writing a piece, I'll either ask people a question in relation to the piece to see what kind of answer they would give me, or I just I'll send it to my friends and be like, hey, what do you think of this? And they might say it's a bit average or it's good, and then they'll say how they think, and then I'll incorporate little bits of what everyone's said into my writing, because then it's a more universally sound piece.
Mm.
How old are you?
Uh, 22.
You're 22. Dude, mom, can I adopt him? Because that right there, a lot of people just within your age group that I've found that I've experienced because I have a 21 and it's 26-year-old. Sometimes they don't really want to hear what anyone else has to say. And to understand that you have a limited understanding of not just your existence. Oh, your mom is going to share you. Now I have to come down to Australia because we have to have a ceremony or something to say that, like, I have a portion of you as mine. Um, but no, like, even older, as people get older, they resist accepting anything from anyone that will allow them to grow. I'm so excited for you. Okay, I'll stop talking now.
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
Right,
it.
welcome.
Nick, you read, as I said, by human radar. My that sixth sense is pretty good. I know if I'm walking down the street, I know what somebody is like when they're a couple of 100 meters away from me before they even come near my space. And my instincts with you were spot on, mate. At 22 or any age, I know people who are three times your age that still live in very closed mind, have maintained a very closed-minded attitude towards life. The very fact that you expand your thought to incorporate other people alone, that these five fingers, they all belong to one hand, right? Like
Mhm.
that, we might be unique in our lives, but there is a connection, and we are here to live and learn together, and that you can recognize that at a young age. And that's why when asked you, like, knowing what growing up in Melbourne is like, what even prompted you to start writing? Because when I was your age, man, writing was the furthest thing from my mind. It was, it
Yeah,
was party town, right? It
yeah.
was.
Lord of mercy. He was bad. He was bad. According to him and his sister, he was
I cannot. It's so refreshing to me now as a parent, as a grown up member of the community, to meet people like you, mate. It really is. It really is, and it's so refreshing. And you hear all the shit on the news with all the rubbish that goes on globally, but then you meet somebody like you in life, and it really rekindles your faith in the continuity of good, of people, of humanity, man. It really is. You give
bad.
hope for a future.
It
You really
does.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's very kind.
And don't think you have to shoulder that burden alone because you are an example of many more like you. So I hope that we are blessed to meet more. But I know that you know them because they're your friends, they're your family members, they're your co-workers. Um, for my age group, which is like I'm 47, and Rainier's age group, like we're looking and we may not see a lot because we're no longer in that cohort. But you're within your generation, exist within your gen. We exist within our generation looking from the outside. So don't feel like you have to shoulder that burden by yourself. Nick is great. You're going to save the world. Yes, you will, but others like you are going to keep hope and to keep all these things alive. So thank you for being a part of that.
Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you.
You're welcome.
mate. I know we live in opposite ends of the city, but I'll always make time to have a beer with you, mate.
No, same goes. Same goes.
Yeah.
I'd like to share
Yeah.
stories.
Mate, take it away. As I said at the very start of the show, I love the variety of topics that you can write. As you said, sitting in the car in the rain, you can write a piece, right? And then you can reflect on something on the oceans and the environment, and then about the human pieces. Mate, it's totally up to you what you read, but I really hope that you've got on your list that one you wrote about a couple of those ones you wrote about the old man in sitting in the sunset, and the one you wrote about your sister as well was pretty good.
Yeah.
But anyway, go for
You
it.
know what? I'll just because you asked, I'll do them. Um,
Yay!
uh, um, I'll see what to cull.
No, 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 please go for it. Your show, mate. I want you to showcase you to the world. So whatever you want to show,
No, that's all
I can
right.
always hear.
What I'll do is I'll do. So I've got one for my dad on the list. So I won't do the
Beautiful.
one for my
Yep.
sister,
Yep.
but I'll do the one you're talking about for sure. I'll do that after this one.
All right.
So this one it's called Red Wine Tastes Better Around a Fire, and so I'd been wanting to write this poem for ages. I'd had little bits and portions, and it was inspired by, whenever I would go fill up petrol, and it would be like as the sun was going down, and the moon was also in view. And I just thought, oh, isn't it funny that like the most beautiful part of the day is when the sun and moon are both out? And I thought like, oh, I wondered if they could, it's funny that neither of them can exchange words, but they still know to just like put on a performance. It's kind of like them saying hello and goodbye to each other before the other one clocks in for its
Mm.
shift. And I wanted to use that as this metaphor for being present and like living in your current moment at all times. And I couldn't think of a name. I'd pretty much written the entire poem, but I didn't have a title for it. And I was at a friend's 21st, and in their father's speech, he said, "Red wine tastes better around the campfire." And my eyes just like bulged open. I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "That's a moment," because I couldn't put my finger on what a moment was. I knew how it felt, but I didn't have a description for it. And then when he said that, I was like, "That's a moment." So yeah, this is called "Red Wine Tastes better around a campfire. Uh, my whole life I've been told not to worry about death, that I'm too young to think about it. But the only thing that gets shared in our existence is that we will one day perish. That's why it's important to live life full of moments, giving yourself experiences to cherish. Because tomorrow isn't promised. Because tomorrow it becomes a memory. And I hate memories, for I wish to experience moments forever. I hope to be as wise as the sun one day, thinking that I'm slowly understanding life, a lot more happiness rather than feeling grey. Mourning the passing of time through the laughs and smiles of others, trying to recall images and words, but everything begins to stutter. Left with a simple feeling, a feeling that defines a moment. Conforming to the golden age of unbeatable friendships and summers, thinking that time is too far changed is where my mind tends to wander. But grieving a moment before it passes implies that you already consider it a memory, and therefore not present in the only portion of time that actually exists. To be as wise as the sun, you must first be taught from the moon how to be lonely with no one and heal your own wounds. Hardwired by society to plan my life in intervals, designed by the universe to observe, breathe, and discover my inner self. We were gifted this concept as a child, by others to forget our desires to run free and be wild. Working full-time, my job description as follows: a 9 to 5 of enjoying life without earning a single dime, absorbing all the sights, smell of rain in the air, dry soil under my feet and in between my toes. The sun at just the right angle, that as it starts to go, it bleeds into the sky, caught at just the right hour, that it can be admired without squinting your eyes. Grateful that the universe decided to share this world with me. For life is the brief moment at which the sun and moon meet, whether it's in the setting of the day, as the morning starts to rise. They exchange no words, knowing that this magical moment in time, everything gets heard about what it means to be alive. Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, that's just amazing, and that is just a very profound appreciation of the gift of life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're the first to see any negative things or things that don't please us. But there's a hell of a lot that happens that in each day, each moment that we can be grateful for. If you took this moment to look,
For sure. That's 100% right.
um, and we always seem to be wanting what we don't have or what's not there. We forget to enjoy what we do have.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's like I said, it took me a long time to finish that one because I had my own understanding of like what a moment was, and I would explain that to people, and a lot of people disagreed with me. And I thought, well, maybe my understanding, isn't 100% true. So I would ask people like, what defines a moment for them? And that's what helped me write it, because people had different answers. And then I thought, well, it's not that my answer's wrong, but perhaps I have a different outlook. I guess I kind of had this negative connotation towards the word memory, because a memory implies that it's already happened, whereas a moment, it's current and it's present. So I kind of viewed everything as everything that is able to happen again isn't a memory. It's like, because you can still experience it, you can still experience having dinner with your family. Like, while yesterday's dinner was a memory, like, you still can have a family dinner, you're capable of that. But at one point in time it will become a memory. You know, you won't be able to have a family dinner.
Mm.
So that's what I thought. But then other people were like, so I just asked I asked a lot of people what they thought moments were, and they helped me write that one. So yeah.
That's beautiful. Some of the best writers do that. As far
So one of the
as like,
things,
yeah.
sorry, go on it, Gemini.
No, I was just saying some of the best writers do that. So outside of poetry, if you look at Stephen King, Stephen King is a city of writers. It's a town of writers. It's under Stephen King's name. But the reason why those books draw you in so much, it's because he is not the only one writing. So you see characters from several different perspectives of from viewpoint, one character from several viewpoints, and all these other characters seem so complex. The story itself seemed complex. What you did for the sun and the moon, you wrote an extended metaphor of your feeling and then personified the sun and the moon as characters within that, and you were able to do that, and then you gave memory and moments a character. This is what it means to have a memory. This is what it means to have a moment, and you derived that from others, but you kept yours because you said you hate memories, but that was your original feeling.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's right.
your truth stayed within the poem, and it was beautiful to hear that, even though you got the feeling from others as far as like their perspective, it 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 influenced yours, but it did not change it. So that's a strong writer right there.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, I thought that that definitely was had to be the start of the poem. You know, that feeling that you know, wanting to experience moments forever. Because I even thought about it, and I think I say it briefly in the poem, but it's like there's this weird feeling you get when you're like experiencing something really enjoyable, and that feeling is that you know it's gonna finish. And
Yes.
I think it's just it's impossible to unhardwire that, but like it's something that you should try and actively do because it takes you away from being there, right there in that moment with everyone, regardless if they're feeling the same way or not. And you just get this like kind of sad feeling, but you're doing like probably one of the best things, you know, that you could possibly be doing. And you're thinking that it's already over, or you're thinking about it as if it's already finished. And like that's something to just try and actively be aware of so that you can experience things fully.
Yeah,
Do you know they
mate.
did an experiment about that? They showed
Pardon?
they did an experiment about it. They showed a
Oh, really?
video of a family happy, and they're driving down this beautiful scenery. The kids are in the back, they're playing. The parents look over and smile at each other. And they ask people, and this was a psychological thing, they asked people to predict what was going to happen next in the scene. And just about everybody predicted that something horrible would happen. That sense of like joy and happiness and good things is fleeting. It's a kind of like a human thing, because as a child you don't think of that. As a child, like nothing. You don't have any fear. You've never really fallen and hurt yourself. And if you fall, you jump right back up. As you start to grow, things seem to the pain seems to stick, and your memory of the pain replaces the memory of the joys and all of the simple things. So that's why
Yeah.
you have that feeling, because I have it as well. I look at something, and right away, like I see a wish or a prayer, like I don't want this to end. I want this person in my life longer. I want this feeling, this thing to last. Because you have that sadness, that underlining sadness. But then your interpretation of being present in that moment to capture it is something that a lot of people don't remember. They don't think of, because they let the sadness kind of take over, and then it ruins the moment entirely.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. 100% agree.
Mate, all I will all I can say is that one thing that's holds true wherever you go in the world, one person can't see through another person's eyes.
Mm,
I can never see through your eyes. You can never see through my eyes. But what we can do, you and I might be sitting there looking at something happening at the same time. We can share what we see
mm,
to try and expand our understanding. But
okay.
your truth, only you can see through your eyes. Nobody else can. And it's important to believe that. Your reality, I cannot for a second see through your eyes. As much as I love my son, for a second I cannot see life through his eyes. So this is why I let him live his truth. I'm there to
Yeah,
advise him and to guide him and to share out what I see and what he sees, and we try and hopefully grow each other's understanding. But doesn't matter if just because I've seen so many more years of life than he has, that I can't see, learn from his truth that he sees.
yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well said. Well said.
Mate, take it away. You've got the storm. So apparently, what's his name is saying you got we got a Australian poetry slam on the 5th of October.
Yeah,
You going in that?
yeah. So I am. That's yeah. He's put that there, the Vic Slam final. So me and
Okay.
him, that's Andrew. We're competing in the Vic final on October the 5th, where we have to do a 2 minute piece, and yeah, you just get scored. And if we go through, then I think we represent Victoria against the rest of
No.
Australia.
Oh,
Maybe I
wow.
think I don't want to make that up if that's incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that this is the middle stage, and then the next stage is the last stage. But yeah, so this would be against all the people that won in Victoria competing against each other, and then the next one would be the Australian. Oh, I
Mate,
got it right. Hell yeah.
mate,
But
that's
yeah,
really good because just around in Melbourne, there's some great poets around, that
yeah,
you're up against and who partake in the slams as well. So
yeah,
doing well, man. That's really
yeah.
good.
Nice.
No, that's Andrew as well. I appeared on his. He has a podcast as well, and I appeared on his a few weeks ago.
I caught
Um,
up to him at Lisetto a few weeks ago, and he was telling me about it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, no, it's yeah, yeah, it's awesome. It's worth checking out as well. And yeah, so I've got that, and then recently, like I had my first paid feature as
Oh,
well, which was amazing.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That was
Mhm.
just kind of came out of nowhere, and but yeah, it was amazing. I did that. That was with Ren Rapture, um, who's an Australian poet, and she hosted me at her event, and yeah, I couldn't believe I got asked. I just did entered a another poetry contest that happens in Fitzroy, and I didn't win. I came second, but afterwards she came up to me and she's like, "Oh, do you want to speak at my event?" And I thought, "Hell yeah,
yeah,
what an opportunity!" So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so I did that, and then yeah, I've got this final coming up in 2 weeks, and but yeah, that's about it at the moment, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. That's exciting.
yeah, yeah, it is. I haven't decided which one I'm going to speak yet. Um, yeah, I don't know which one's screaming at me, but I'll try and figure it out.
Yeah.
I like that because that's what I was going to tell you. Find out which one's speaking to you, but which one's screaming at you. Sometimes they whisper, Nick. So,
That's a good point. Perhaps,
yeah.
yeah. I'll have to
I'm
keep
so
that in mind
excited
when
for
I make
you.
a decision. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mate, you got the floor. Take it away.
All right. All right. Upon your request, I'll read it's called Shepherd's Warning, and it's about it's about being grateful to just wake up and watch the sunrise. Yeah, Shepherd's Warning. I will never forget the morning, standing in the breeze of a winter's day, watching the sunrise. I hear the old man say, I'm glad I woke up today. It would have been a shame to miss such a beautiful sunrise. Now each day forth I think of this and will forever until I demise. He would have passed by now. I wonder how many more magical sunrises he saw. Were they all as beautiful as the one we shared? See, what this man will forgo is any more red and purple skies, but what this man will never know is that I see him in every beautiful sunrise. Even though life isn't promised, it seems like a sick joke to get such a short amount of time here. Time is relative, so each year feels quicker than the last, caught in dull moments of the present, remembering good things from the past. What a waste of consciousness to act this way. I hope that when I'm old, I get to enjoy the sunrise the way that man did, knowing that waking up this one time meant I get another day to live. Yeah.
Mate, that says so much, mate. That says so much. Um, that seeing him in every sunrise, some of those memories never die. Like, I was very close to my old man, but he passed away when I was 12. And for many years, many decades after that, I still see him in many things,
Yeah.
even many decades later.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
Yeah.
and yeah, that piece just gets me, man. That is so, yeah.
Oh, I'm
It
glad you enjoy that one. Yeah. I don't know what it like. That was one I never even considered writing as a poem, but it was something that stuck with me for ages. And I was doing an archery lesson, that I'd been given as a gift for 11th or 12th birthday or something, and I was there with my friend, and it was bloody cold morning, and we're just getting ready to do archery, and this fella who's just so in love with his sport, archery, and he was real old, and he's like, oh, he said to his mate just very casually, he's like, oh, well, I'm glad I woke up today. It would have been a shame to miss this sunrise. And he wasn't talking to me or anyone. I just overheard it, and it's stuck with me since. So,
mm,
yeah,
Deposited
there you
something in you.
yeah, yeah,
Here.
yeah. But I actually don't know if he has passed away or not. I just assumed because he was very old, and I guess kind of saying a sentence like that, casually
mm.
implies. But what I was going to do is I was going to go drop that piece off at the archery place on the chance that perhaps he isn't, and then that he could possibly read it if he was still involved with it.
Mate, you should,
Yeah,
because
Oh,
he might not be around, but maybe a kid or another loved
yeah,
one might be around that might appreciate it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. No.
or the
Perhaps that's
person
my
he was speaking
job for
to,
after this. Pardon?
or the person who was speaking to will remember that statement
Yeah,
he
yeah,
made. Or maybe he makes that statement often and it's something that he's known for. So
yeah.
yeah, that'd be beautiful. I do you have that piece published?
No, I don't have anything published at the moment. That's one of the next steps I've been wanting to take. I spoke to someone recently about it. I've got enough to publish, but I was just worried that perhaps I don't have enough to, um, you know, have a skeleton for the next one or how to structure it, just because I know that there are a million different ways you can write a book, and how you structure it, which is, there's no wrong answers, but I was just trying to figure out what would be the best idea for me. But
Don't
yeah,
get stuck on that, please, because I
yeah,
have I have
It'll
poems
come.
everywhere. I have a folder. I have notebooks. I have them on my computer. I have them on video and I haven't transcribed them. And I have a million and one in my head.
Yeah,
Don't don't stress over as far as the perfect configuration. Just like you said, not one screaming at you, whichever one is whispering. And that's what I'm working with for the rest of this year. But like don't be like Gemini. Don't be like Gemini. Don't have a whole bunch of poems and like not know where to start because you don't want to not choose one of your babies.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mate,
No.
I would get a template and just start put on a laptop and start putting together. Things can be moved around, and once you start with the first, the rest will follow. You'll know. You listen to yourself, and it'll flow.
No.
Listen to him. He has books.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it'll happen.
no, yeah. Oh, will do, will do. I'll yeah. I know what it'll. I know how, because like my TikTok, it's called Crayon Visuals for whatever reason. So I thought, well, perhaps I'll do like it'll be like the colors of the, like a crayon packet, and down the spine it'll be like shaped like a crayon. So like it'll just be like volume one yellow, like, or volume one blue. So it'll just be like the colors of crayons.
Yeah,
Okay, now I'm excited to read your book.
Yeah.
Oh my
mate.
gosh. Okay. I have a
Love to
whole
hear
visual in my head.
what else you had planned to share with us today.
All right. So this next one I wrote, and it's called "Broken Hearts Don't Need Bandages." And I wrote this for my friend when he broke up with his partner of a few years, and as any heartbreak, it takes a toll on you. But I just wrote him this poem just came to me. Or it actually was inspired a bit by a movie that I'd seen, just like a sentence I heard in a movie called Past Lives, and the sentence was, "When you leave something behind, you gain something too." So I just wrote him a poem about being a better person, and you know, I guess moving on, thinking for him.
Mm.
So yeah, broken hearts don't need bandages. It's told that when you leave something behind, you gain something too. So then, now that it's over, why can't I bear a moment without you? And what's there to gain when we shared all that we do? You see, you knew more about me than I could ever know myself. I told you everything about me until there was nothing left to tell. And yet you remembered it all and gave it the love like holding your ear to a shell. An ocean of my being forever sailed by you, knowing all my desirable traits, guessing all the responses to my friendly debates, or when I'm upset just by looking at my face, like the moment you decided that we needed space. What amount of love must I give to receive even a smile? Even when I've given you all that I can, you hold on to your anger a while, or giving me the silent treatment like I'm some little child. When you leave something behind, you gain something too, but it's too hard when I'm confined with thoughts about you. I tell myself the good outweighs the bad. What a distasteful lie. I don't care how nice you were sometimes, the state you left me in was without shine. Left alone in the dark, and I can't find the end. Or perhaps I don't want to, for if I am to mend, then I will no longer think of you. If the person I was a year ago saw me today, they would look away, disappointed and disgraced. But I've learnt not to think like him, because the person I was yesterday is proud of me today. And I, right now, am proud of the man I will be tomorrow. They say when you leave something behind, you gain something too. So today I leave behind a version of myself and replace it with a version that's new. Yeah.
But you're an old soul. You're an old soul that, yeah, you right. But
Yes.
you're right. Exactly how I live my life, man. You know how I viewed life from a young age. You're an old soul.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I love to hear
There's
stuff like
so much wisdom in what you in that piece.
mm,
Uh, yeah, it's yeah, but
yeah.
it
You
really,
having
really,
speechless. You need to come more
really gives me
often.
faith in the
Yeah.
continuity of humanity as a as good people, mate. You give me hope. You give me faith. You give me
Thank
belief.
you. That means a lot. That means a lot.
It helps
Yeah,
people like me to close my eyes comfortably,
yeah.
knowing that the world will be in good hands with people like you, man.
Wow, wow. Thank you, thank you. I yeah, I just thought with that piece in particular that you have this habit when it comes to heartbreak that you kind of you restart existence based on the end of that life, that that relationship, and the end of that relationship. Not always, but I guess in more instances than not, it's an ugly end,
Mm.
Mm,
and so you've got this point where you now restart life, and it's this ugly, you know. Negative start, and now you relate everything going forward back to this start, like all your problems. Oh, it's been since we parted ways, since this, since
Mm.
it's always going back to comparing it to this negative thing. So I said to my friend, I said, you don't view life as you don't continue life going as since this relationship is finished. No, it's since yesterday, and it's since the day before that. It's just another day, because you get into this habit of having this negative association that you'll fall back to whenever bad things happen. So I said to him, it's just it's each day's a new day, and on that day you just happen to split up with your partner. So you know,
And that's very wise. I like the metaphor you used. And it was like holding up a shell
oh
and
yeah,
you
holding your ear to a shell. Yeah,
and listening to the ocean of my being. I
yeah,
mean, that
mm,
that just the ocean is so vast, so wide, so untamable. The abyss, the ocean floor is there's still uncharted territories and things are unexplained, like volcanoes under the water and fish swimming around them, like erupting with bubbling hot water, and things exist and are living. And to think of your being as an ocean and for someone to be able to take that in.
mm,
I feel for your friend, but I'm glad he has a friend like you.
mm.
oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually did tell me. He told me that and it meant a lot to hear it. He told me he revisits it quite a bit. So I thought that was very kind. Oh, that was a lovely thing to hear
Mm,
from him.
yeah.
Beautiful.
But we're coming up to an hour and a half. So what, if you want to plug things that you got coming up, and
Yeah,
what you got. So where do you see your writing journey going next? Besides the slam poetry and so maybe hopefully publish your work in a book.
yeah.
Where do you see it going? Where would you like to see your poetry go?
Oh, it's it's a question with endless answers, I think. I'm just happy to keep doing it at this point,
Amen.
and whatever comes, comes. Like, I'll try and not force, out any sort of outcomes, but I'd love to get that book published, and, who knows what will happen when I compete in 2 weeks. And, yeah, I think you saw it. I made that TikTok the other day about just like people's comments. Like,
Yes.
to me, that's just like that's my favorite thing on the planet. Just like other people reaching out and just saying nice things. So yeah, if I can't have it, if I, for whatever reason, I can't publish a book and I can't do this and I can't do that, as long as I have those kind of messages, I think I'm happy.
But the comments that have been coming through here, unfortunately, when it's reposted, you don't see the comments. There's been nothing but love and respect for you as a person.
Yeah,
And your respect, love and respect for your pieces. Uh, as I said, mate, I only met you the once, and I was captured by your pieces. I think you can go wherever you want to go, your poetry, but you've got the right mindset. Let it unfold according
yeah,
to the way it needs to,
Hmm.
and it will. You will do well. You will do well. And when I say you will do well, it doesn't necessarily have to be in $1 million bank balance, but you will do well in touching many people's hearts. You will bring light to many dark corners of the world. Right? So success is not always in glitter and gold and flashing lights, man. If your words put a smile on somebody who's looking down the barrel of a gun, that's priceless success. And your words
Hmm.
can do that. Your very conversations can do that. Right? Your very views and your beliefs can do that. And that, my friend, is priceless. Yes, it might not leave you rolling in golden bed sheets, but at the very start, that piece that you wrote with your sister wanted to take everything beyond her grave, mate, you saved somebody's life. Every smile you put on somebody's face, every bit of light you shed in every dark corner, that's what you'll take beyond your grave.
for sure, for sure. Wow, thank you. That was very well said.
And you can do that right now with what you're doing that now.
Yeah, no, thank you.
But yeah, happy for you to plug anything you got coming up,
Yeah,
anything, and
sure.
maybe whatever your closing piece is, that'll
Yeah,
drag
well,
it out to about an hour and a
I'll
half.
give you I'll give you the one for my dad
Yeah.
because I set up ready that, so I'll give you that one.
Happy for you
Yeah,
to even do a couple of pieces. If you got a couple of pieces you want to get through, whatever you want to do, it's up to
sure.
you.
I'll give you two then. I'll give you the one for my dad, and I'll just give you a very little one. It's like two
Okay.
sentences.
Beautiful.
Perhaps I'll start with
Okay.
the little one. The little one I just wrote, and it was about you know, how you can take a photo and show someone a photo, and they'll have all sorts of reactions for it. But when you're telling someone a story, or you're painting this picture for them, and you get to exaggerate it in great lengths, in a healthy way to help visualize it for someone else, that it's I don't know. I've said it's better in a way. So it's called Blurry Photos, and it's very short. It's they say that nothing truly beautiful is meant to last. So can a picture really capture the essence of the past? I'd rather exaggerate healthy lies to which I will never confess. For the way I describe it, a photo could never express. Yeah, that's it. It's just those two lines.
Says a lot. Says a lot.
That's
Yeah,
like modern day
I think so.
Shakespeare.
Thanks. Yeah, so that's one of my favorites for just a little one, because I think it's true. You can have a photo and you can show someone a photo, but then when you're describing it to them, you're like, oh man, the mountains, you couldn't see over them, and the clouds were eating them, and you paint this picture, and you're like, they're experiencing it with you,
Yeah.
regardless of what details you can remember and what you can't, it's all there. So yeah, there's that one. And then I'll give you the one I wrote for my dad to finish on. So it's called to My Son's Forever Fourth. And I just wrote it because, and it's a bit similar to the first one I read about the carriage, like taking something with you. And it's just about like, being inherited habits and, habits and things that you do that get passed down. So yeah, it's called To My Son's Forever Fourth. It's one of my favourites that I've written. Uh, to be human is the desire to persist. But what makes life beautiful is the one chance to exist. Yet I don't even know the names of my family that once consist. You see, I know a lot about my father, but not my fathers that came before. For I am my father's son, and I've been riddled with his habits since before my birth had come. Like his love for animals, and not tolerating shit. Go on hikes not made for amateurs. Share a beer around a fire we sit. And not disturbing nature, with one simple exception, to smell a lovely flavour through a deep breath of reflection. But I am my father's son, he said, but not my father's son, so forth. And I don't even know the names of my forefathers that came before. That is except for what he had been taught and passed down from his father, and now does it without a thought. To break off some leaves from a lemon gum tree, hold them to his nose and give them a gentle squeeze. A vivid and lucid inhale of a dry citrus scent in that moment allows you to know what life has meant. So I think I'd feel quite at ease if all that was left of me is the smell of scrunched up leaves from a lemon gum tree. To my sons and my sons forever forth, may the scent of lemon gum bring me back into your thoughts. But I am my father's son, I say, but not my father's son, so forth. And I will never know the names of my fathers not yet born. So this is just a message to my father from his sons who love him more. Yeah, that's it.
I love the refrain. I love the bringing back the gum tree. I love the refrain
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like memory is tied to scent. And sometimes you pass by. I this happens to me a lot, and I'm here in the United States. I'm from St. Lucia, and I'll it'll just carry me. I'm like, I know that scent, I know that smell. And even if you can't name it, the feeling that comes with it just sits with you.
100%. Yeah. Well said.
Oh man.
Mate, that is an amazing piece. So profound. As I said, you brought that touch of Australiana again into it because when you have smelt the various gums, especially the lemon gum, it's unique. It's same as with you walk down the middle of the red centre there and you see the white ghost gums, mate. They are in a because in the middle of there you don't get the city lights and these ghost gums just in the moonlight they glow like ghosts and I'd be trudging down this dry riverbed. It's so unique, and you paint that picture, your imagery that you paint with that, yeah, and the continue to be before us and the continuity yet to come,
Yeah.
part of it, right? It captured all that.
Yeah.
We are a part of our forefathers, as our children will be part of us and our forefathers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And I
Would
just think that like if you can't I don't know, because everyone's relationship with their family is different. Some people have negative relationships, some people have positive, some people, don't get to experience what it's like to have a family and be loved, which is a sad thing. But regardless, you have something, that's like ingrained into you, whether it's a habit or like an action. And I thought about that because my daddy always, every time he goes past the lemon gum tree, he'll break off the leaves and he'll smell it, and then he'll get me to smell it. And like I know that that's something that his dad did as well. And then I thought, it'd be a nice thing to pass down, just something as little as smelling lemon gum
mate,
leaves.
he would be proud. He must have been. His heart would have swelled when he heard that piece.
Yeah, I think so. I read it to him. I read it to him. I've
Mm.
got one for everyone in my family, so I've read them all their poems. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
oh my gosh. Okay. Okay.
so,
I'm not gonna say
who's
anything else.
Valda Jenkins and Edwina
So
Jenkins?
that's my nana and that's my auntie. Yeah.
Oh, I can't answer the
Hello, all the
comments
Jenkins
anymore.
family. Very nice to
Yeah.
meet you all.
Hello,
I think
everybody.
you've got somebody here that the whole family can be very proud of. He's a fine young man. I myself, yeah, think very highly of him. And
So do
Nick, whenever
I.
you're, I know you're down the southeast and I'm up the northeast, mate. But whenever we can, let's catch up now that the better weather's coming as well. Let's catch up in town even and
Yeah.
grab a meal or grab a beer, man. And
Oh,
yeah.
100%. 100%. Will do.
your aunt
Yeah.
is there with your uncle,
Yeah.
Edwina, and
Yeah. They must
Uncle
be watching
Steve.
it together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Oh,
Mate,
that is so cool.
Yeah. They love it. Everyone's lovely.
Nick, uh, thanks for today, mate. I think you really brought to the world a piece of Nick Jenkins, and
Thank you.
I'm so glad to be able to showcase not only your work but you as a person, your views on life, your approach to life, the way you embrace life. It just says so much about you, mate. It really says a lot about you. There's a great, beautiful, a good seed in there, mate, that's flourishing into a beautiful tree.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that truly. Yeah. The whole
Um,
family's here. All my cousins as well. But yeah. Nah, thank you. I appreciate that.
so,
It's been
Oh,
Nick,
a
as I
pleasure.
said, uh, when I post this, I'll add you as a
Yep.
collaborator. You'll get an invite. You can add it to your page.
Yeah.
Over the week, I'll create the YouTube and the podcast. And when I've done that, I'll send you the link. I'll message you the link, and you feel free to use it for whatever you like. You never know who sees this, right?
Of course.
And as I say to all my guests, this is only the first time. Gemini and I try to create this platform to showcase people, great poets and writers. So if you got something coming up, right, like you say your book gets out or you got some big events coming up or you just finished a big event, ping me and say, hey, Rainier, mate, what's your calendar like? Love to come up again to showcase whatever you
Okay.
want to do there.
Yeah.
It's an
For
open
sure.
invitation. I generally work months ahead, as you know. I'm
Yeah.
now booked. Other than one show, I'm pretty much booked up through to December.
Yep.
So the earlier you got something coming up, just let me know, ping me, and we can slot you into a spot, mate. And honestly, I've got open door here for you, man. I'd love to have you
Awesome.
on. I think we've only shown just a fraction of who Nick Jenkins is inside, and I think as you evolve and as you grow and as you, mate, I personally like to keep abreast of your work and watch you grow. Right?
Yeah. No,
likewise.
awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Not that
It's
I'm
been an
being
Um,
absolute
antsy, of
pleasure.
course.
and to everybody in the room who's come and gone, your comments have been amazing. And as I say at every show, your comments and encouragement and love that you show our featured guests helps them to give so much more of them. Otherwise, it's very hard to, without that feedback, it's hard to, how much do you expose of yourself, right? So
Yeah.
your contributions to really help the richness of the show, helps our featured guests to give more of them, helps the conversations. And so thank you to all the guests who've come through. And as always, Gemini, thank you. Being a bit, the show would not be the same without you. And I hope in introducing Nick, I've brought to you another piece of Australia. You only
You see,
see the
because of
bad
Nick,
side from me, so
yes,
you can see
yes,
that not everybody is bad like me. You see a bit of a good side of Australia in Nick.
Nick, thank you so much. For a while, I was losing hope for the entire continent because of this guy right here. But now I see with you and your entire family, there's some ray of hope. And Mrs. Jenkins, you're welcome. Thank you so much for pouring what you have into your son. That's the only way something can come out of it. So you did not know what you were pouring into him. while he was growing up. And here, you've been able to see just a portion of it. So I'm very happy for you. And thank you for sharing him with me because I'm taking you up on that. Like, I have now adopted Nick. But no, Rainier, thank you for sharing the poets that you have in Australia, poets that I may have never seen or experienced. Thank you for sharing that with me and with everyone else. So I look forward to seeing you grow, Nick, and I will have to make my way to Australia now that I have a child there.
She's a
For
tough
sure.
mama, Nick. Watch out.
I'm gentle. I love butterflies and clouds.
Nick,
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show and listening to me. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Nick, I cannot thank you enough, mate. And sorry it's taken so long. As I said, I book up months ahead to prepare. But thank
Yeah,
you.
no,
It's been an
don't be.
absolute pleasure, mate. It's
Yeah.
been an absolute honor and pleasure to showcase you as a person and your work, my friend. And keep in touch. And yeah, really want to keep abreast of your work. Anything you want to plug, feel free before you get before you call.
I'll just plug my TikTok. That's where the bulk of it is. I do the little drawings for it and everything. Uh, it's crayon visuals. Um, don't know where we got the crayon visuals from, but yeah, it's crayon visuals on TikTok. And yeah, and if you're yeah, October the 5th, I've got the poetry final. Um, and we'll see how that goes.
Mate,
Yeah,
all the very best. Wish you best of luck. Where
thank
is it
you.
being held? Where is the finals being held?
So what was that? I just lost you for a sec.
Where are the
Oh,
finals being held?
oh, yeah. The final's being held in. I think it's like. Jeez. I think I could be wrong. I think it's a state library. I don't know for sure, but yeah. If quick Google search for where the Victorian Championship is. It's in the city. So
Yep.
yeah.
Let me know if I can make it. I'll love to rock up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Awesome
better
for
make it.
sure. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you better make it because that's my adopted child. You have to go to support them in person since I can't be there.
Yeah.
Nick, thank you, my friend. A pleasure and an honor to meet you and to get to know more of you. And yeah, thank you. It's been a great pleasure having you here, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thank you both for having me.
Thank you, Gemini.
You're welcome.
Stay
Thank you,
safe.
Nick. Thank you,
Stay
Renee.
blessed, everybody. Thank you again to everybody in the room. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Till next time.
Ciao.
Yeah.